Do you have those kinds of friends you came to discover that they like working alone or walking alone? They don't enjoy social media people. They don't enjoy people who work in groups or people who go to some social amenities or functions. Have you ever found there's a friend of yours or there's a relative of yours who just likes like living alone? For example, if you guys are living in this side of the town, these individuals actually live in the opposite side of the town. There are these people who like walking alone, they like working alone, they like operating alone. These people are not built differently. They're not mad, they're not insane. It's just there's something in them that makes them like it or makes them want to operate alone. Some people call them introverts. Some people call them lone rangers. Others have even end up calling them one-man guitar or a one-man show. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, for those who are joining it for the first time, my name is Kunguru87 and welcome to the Surviving Men series. Make sure you subscribe and you like. Now, today we're going to break down these 5 types of individuals, these 5 types of traits of such people who actually like operating alone. It doesn't mean that they're mad. It doesn't mean they're insane. It doesn't mean they're built differently. It simply tells you that these people are smart. They're ahead of the game. And many a times, you've heard this saying where they say, if you want to go very far, you walk with people. You want to go very fast, you walk alone. So there are very many instances of how people are being judged. Some might end up being judged negatively, some might end up being judged positively. But let's dive right into it. Now, the first instance is that these people are internally validated. These individuals, they don't like, how would I put it? They don't like people who always, have you ever found people who, when they do or perform a certain activity, they like telling, hey, but they already did ABCD, yet it is part of their job. For those who are employed or for those who are having employers, you're having an employee who each and every time they like every time to be like recognized they've done a certain task, yet it is part of their job. Now these kinds of people, these lone rangers, usually they can never, you can never even see like them shouting that, but they, I did ABCD. They just keep quiet. Their result speaks for themselves. If you find this kind of person, just know these people are like alone. We call them lone rangers. Many a times they don't like attention. They don't like when people like focus on them. Like, by the way, how come is it so and so did? No. They work in silence. They work in silence. They operate in silence. It's the result that speaks for them. Many a times, even if you guys are in a company, maybe let's assume you guys are doing a business somewhere. It's a business community somewhere, and maybe you guys were like, who'll offer us this kind of services? Who'll do for us ABCD? They just keep quiet. They've already organized everything. And before you notice, if you guys wanted some trees to be planted, you'll find the service providers within that particular community of yours are planting trees. And you ask, who went and bought these things? Who did ABCD? And they're like, so and so just did it. They don't have to announce each and every time what in any action they're partaking. They don't like some sense of recognition. Even when they're in a meeting, when they're in a communal harambe, it's like when you give you give money or contribute some funds to a certain team. They don't like announcement. I'm sure most of you have seen it. There's those people who do contribution and they just guess the name there. Don't write my name. They work in silence. And you find you're also one of these person, just know you're not mad. You're just an individual who likes working alone. You don't like all that publicity. You're not even in social media pages. Even if you're there, you hardly comment. Another point is that they're deep thinkers. These people think are in solitude. You find someone many a times before they tell you something, before they respond to you, they take their time. They take the time before they even utter any word. For example, they're in a meeting and one way or another, you'll find that they've been asked a question and they just take notes. You find yourself with such people. They just take notes and they nod their head when they're taking the notes. They take a lot of time before they answer to certain questions. They don't flow with the current. Like, for example, you've heard when people say they're giving unanimous vote. Will that mean for the opinion say aye? Them they'll not say aye or nay. If you find yourself in such a position, I believe you're not mad, you're not insane. These are unique traits. You don't like making decisions based on emotions. You don't like making decisions because the group of people have decided. And many a times they take time before they even open their mouths. They take time before they partake a certain task. They take their time before they even join a certain group of people or a certain cluster or a certain body or an organization. It's not that they're mad. It's not that they're insane. It's not that they're introverts. It's just they like making what you call calculated moves. Point number 3 is that they have very strong boundaries. A lot of people have been telling them many times. There's one discipline that I learned from our very own Kipchoge Keino, the world marathoner, the 1.59, and he said the greatest discipline a lot of us don't have is the discipline of saying no. There are people, if you do not respect their boundaries, they withdraw their respect and everything. I'm an example of them. These people like when the boundaries are respected. For example, you guys have decided you want to go out for maybe a road trip. It wasn't in their plan. It wasn't even in their budget. They even never even dreamed about it. They'll tell you point blank without even blinking that no. They don't need to give you a reason because they respect themselves. You respect their boundaries. They don't need to give an explanation why they're saying no or why they're telling you no. Yes, some people will find it offensive, like, why are you just saying no? Why don't you give me an explanation? Who told you they should give you an explanation of why they're saying no? It's just that they've got boundaries. And these boundaries is where you've had someone tell you that many a times, I'll allow you to enter my corner, but kindly do not cross this line. When you cross this line, there's no coming back. Certain individuals even go to an extent of putting a barrier, like, you can't know their relatives, you can't know their spouses, you can't know where they're living, you can't know what kind of businesses they do outside their normal operation hours. They're individuals, like, you can't even know what kind of business these people are doing. You just see them walking in and out of that neighborhood of yours. These people like the boundary. Even with their neighbors, they just communicate the tete-a-tete, the small talk. But what kind of business you're doing? This where we find people flourishing when in a meeting. Oh, by there I'm a pilot. No. These people have got boundaries. One thing you also have to know about these individuals: the same way they respect their own boundaries, the same way they also respect other people's boundaries. If you find yourself in this kind of character, it doesn't mean that they are insane or you are insane. It's just that, again, I'll repeat, you're ahead of the game. You like your privacy. You like walking alone. You like being in a solo place. You've got boundaries. Another point is that they're hyper intuitive, or maybe they're energy readers. You'll find that some people who read a lot about people, when you talk, they just look at you and they read a lot. They can tell if you're boasting around. They can tell if you're fishing around. They can tell if you're not authentic. They can tell if you're just a backbiter. These people, they quickly can pick if this individual is a fake or not. Many times you'll find it. I'll pick an example for those people who are maybe you're in a certain community or in a certain group, and there's someone who's always lying about their kind of lifestyle. Immediately you start talking, you just find them like switching off. Either they'll walk away, either they'll be absent-minded, or you don't like that kind of you don't like this kind of people who just lie directly to your face. Mostly it happens with relatives. I'm sure many of you can attest. You have those relatives who keep on praising and preaching the way they've got connections, point A, B, C, D, but they can hardly help you or assist you. Oh, send me your CV. Oh, by the way, you should call me tomorrow. Come to my office tomorrow. If you are those people who do not even sit down before even this person finishes that particular sentence of the way they are lying, the way they are cold-blooded, it doesn't mean you're insane. You're just smart upstairs. You've read people, you've read to their feelings, you've entered that room and you've known this individual is just here to lie to you. Many a times, human beings, you're very funny. We act on emotions. It's only death or marriages that bring us around. Recently, I was in another burial and I was shocked when another individual just woke up and was speaking on the microphone and telling most of the relatives that we only met because of these burials, things and whatnot. Apart from this, I even don't know your kids. You even don't know where I live. You even don't know how I'm doing. So don't come here and lie that we work as a team, we operate as a family. No, you're not even in the same WhatsApp groups. In fact, some of you just learned about the demise of the disease of this person who just lost their lives by either social media. If you're these kinds of people who read that coldness, you read the negativeness, the negative attitude about people, doesn't mean, again, you're insane. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, It just means you are very smart upstairs. And many times you'll find those individuals just seated in the corner and they're just looking at you, thinking they're listening to you. But let me tell you, these people, their brains, their mind, they're not even there. They're just there physical because maybe they need to be there. It's because you've already felt this guy is lying to you. More so, there's nothing you can do because maybe they're elder than you. Maybe they're your uncles, they're your aunties, they're your parents, but you're not feeling them at all. You're just there because you need to fill the numbers. Last but not least is that these people are evolving faster than their environment. They're those people who they grasp a lot of things very fast. It's nature, it's natural for them to learn so quick. They don't have to undergo the full course. Mostly you cannot manipulate them. They don't have to sit for 5 hours and learn a particular character. For example, I've given you that example of you've gone to a burial or you've gone for a wedding. Maybe they're there because it's a family or a relative. So, but nowadays, people have gone to an extent they hardly even attend to those burials or weddings or those meetings. They hardly even contribute. These people evolve so fast. They've already known who's on their side, who's not their side. Which side of the bread is buttered, which side of the bread is not buttered. They know who's against them and who's not against them. That's why the number one thing, you'll find themselves living in very far areas. They say, I don't want impromptu visitors. I'm sure most of you have got relatives who are living in places you can't even know. You cannot even tell. In fact, you bump into them in either social media places or you bump to them into halls, and it's like you greet them, hi, and when I ask you, and who is this? You tell them, that's my aunt, that's my sister. Not my sister by default, that's my blood sister. That's my blood brother. You can't even know what they're doing in their normal lives. Ladies and gentlemen, there are those people who grasp things very fast in their life. They do not entertain nonsense. They do not but leak. They don't have two sides to it. They're like, it's a no, it's a no, it's a yes, it's a yes. I'm not coming, I'm not coming. I'm not buying this product, they're not impulse buyers. Society has made these individuals, we tend to say they're stingy. No, these people are not stingy. They're just careful of the acts or the moves they want to make in their lives, in their day-to-day life. The jobs, you find these people taking very funny moves when it comes to the job for those who are employed, the job wow. They leave this job, they resign to this job, and you're wondering, have you got another job? No. It's because they do not like toxic environment. They do not like toxic people. They don't feel your vibe. They don't want to sugarcoat it. They don't want to lie to you. They're like, no, I'm not for it, and that's it. Some of us might be sugarcoating. We just went to that burial because this person is a relative. We went to that particular wedding because this individual is a sister to my brother, to my what. For these individuals, and you'll never even see them. In fact, you just know them by default, you're related, but you can never see them in anything. To some extent, they cannot even greet you because you guys don't vibe. You can't call them in the middle of the night or from nowhere that, you know what, I've been arrested. They don't even have your number. I've been told time and again that these phones that have got this kind of I don't know if it's an application or what, where they cannot take numbers that are not saved on the phone. You cannot just add them into this WhatsApp group and these social media groups for some contribution or anything. They've made their boundaries so strong. Call for action is that, ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself you're either these 5 traits belong to you, or you've seen most of your friends or relatives having these 5 traits, they're not mad, they're not smart, they're not insane, they're not introverts. It's just that they're ahead of the game. They're very smart. They've chosen to work 10 steps ahead of you. Because remember, human beings are very hard and fun to impress. Today it is you, tomorrow is another individual. If you don't learn these particular individuals, you'll end up losing the point. So there are 5 of them. Number 1, as I said, they are internally validated. They do not like people validate themselves. When they do something, they shine. When they do a contribution, they go and announce to everyone. When they go to help the poor, they have to go with cameras and whatnot. Though these individuals assist and help people in silence. Number 2, they're deep thinkers. Before they make any move, they think. Before they make any move, they think very smartly and very boldly. Number 3, they've got very strong boundaries. Number 4, they're hyper intuitive. They don't like, they read the characters of individuals very fast. Last but not least, is they evolve faster. They think very smart. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, if you find any of these particular 5 traits relating with you, kindly just put it on the comment section and definitely we'll get back to you. Thank you very much for watching the Survive Women series. Peace.